The Messiah erases the dominion of Satan.
60 seconds.
There are gay boys everywhere. There is war everywhere. That is not what has happened. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, it says that this man is the teacher of righteousness. Remember, I told you that Barnabas was found in the Dead Sea, and that the true Torah is the Dead Sea, not the 1611 version that they have given you from the oppressor. Look, read. These things have never been assessed by anyone with any melanin in their skin ever, or any righteousness in their heart. We are assessing whether this is valid by men that don't even pray. Who cares what a professor has to say? What about the person that cries at night for God? Do those words touch your soul? Please give a chapter and verse and place a precept on a precept.
Well, he's debating people. That was his closing round. Capone, it is now time for your closing round. I'm going to need for you to get to it. All right, let's go.
Once again, brother, my opponent, he's off topic. He hasn't proven, and I want the judges to take note of this. He hasn't proven why you should read the Gospel of Barnabas. He hasn't proven that. And he still neglects the fact that the Gospel of Barnabas was written 1,000 years after Christ, 1,000 years after Barnabas. I showed you where they found it at. I showed you when they found Barnabas' remains, how they said that he had the gospel according to Matthew in the 5th century. But the people later on in the the 18th century to the 19th century, they omitted those words. So now people think that Barnabas, when they found his body, he had a gospel that he wrote himself attached to it. This is nonsense, right? The brother, your scholarship is faulty, just like the Gospel of Barnabas. It quotes verbatim from the Latin Vulgate. I'm sorry I didn't pull those scriptures up, but this is the point. It makes the Latin Vulgate was sometime during the 4th century or 5th century. It makes the same errors as the Latin Vulgate. It makes the same exact errors. That's how we know that it's fraudulent. Also, the Dante's Inferno didn't come out until the Middle Ages. It quotes and summarizes Dante's Inferno like he was sitting there with him. He talks about the 7 deadly sins. There's no such thing. The Bible says, you want a precept in 1 John 3 and 4, right? And that's and that's the transgressions, right? What? Hold on, let me pull that scripture, y'all. Give me a second. I just drew a blank. Right? Let's type it real quick. Let me get this. Right? For the transgressions of the law, right? This is what John said. An actual apostle of Christ, right? So let's go to John 3 and 4. 1 John 3 and 4. Oh, come on, now the screen want to freeze.
Time is paused till he come back.
It dropped me. It dropped me. Can y'all hear me?
He back.
All right. Yeah, it says, for sin is the transgression of the law. So there's no 7 deadly sins. That's a lie. And that was made by Europeans. Dante's Inferno, his other poetry. Paradise. That's where that comes from. And it has many other Middle Ages contexts in the scriptures. Even the money, the unit of money that it's talking about using. It's fraudulent, bro. You gotta give it up. It's fraudulent. Also, I already stated in my presentation that it was forged by fraudulent it was written by forgers who was in the Middle Ages during the 15th during the expulsions of the Spanish Inquisition, the Spanish expulsion. There was a lot of Spanish Muslims that was creating Arabic gospels that was faulty, and we know this because of the stuff that they wrote in them, the eternal evidence, which I showed you. So all this, bro, you haven't gave me none. You couldn't stay on topic. You couldn't prove why we should read it. You only yelled and screamed. And that's not a debate, brother. That's just you talking in a room full of nobodies that's not even listening because we don't even know what you're talking about anymore. The gospel of Barnabas is not genuine. It never has been. It is used to confuse brothers like you. You defended more than Arabs. I showed you that. You defend the gospel of Barnabas more than the Arabs that have written it, more than the Muslims that have written it. Come on, boy, wake up. I don't know what to say, bro. It's flabbergasting, right? And in the beginning, let me show y'all again real quick. Hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. Let me show y'all this real quick. Show y'all, cause y'all probably couldn't call him Christ. He says he's the Christ, right? Yeah. This is the
60
intro,
seconds.
beginning of the gospel of Barnabas. It says the true gospel of Jesus called Christ. And it ain't that what people call this is what they knew, right? It says a new prophet by God to the world, according to the description of God, Barnabas, his apostle, right? Now, the word Christ is Mashiach. The word it is Messiah. That's what it means, the anointed. I showed you that in the Hebrew. I showed you that in the Greek. I showed you that in English. I don't know what else to say, bro. It's the false. It's not genuine, and that was the main point of the debate. It was to prove was it genuine, and I believe that I did. I showed you what it is, which you didn't. You didn't tell the people what it was. I showed them what it was. I showed them where it came from. I showed them when it happened. I showed them why it happened to confuse brothers like you, and I showed you who wrote it.
Well, again, looks like good timing once again. So that was the closing on both of our opponents here. You guys did an excellent job. I just really want to give y'all like a whole y'all did a good job, right? So now we're gonna go into this question and answer round. All right. Here's what's gonna get really crazy. Don't go psycho on me, y'all, tonight, okay? I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. Y'all got 4 questions apiece to ask each other. All right. Visa, you are the affirmative, so you will have the first question to ask him. Or remember, you got 4 questions. All right. You ready, Visa? Ask him a question. He's going to answer. You got 1 minute to ask a question. He got 2 minutes to answer. Remember, please do not.
May I? Yes,
When
go ahead. I thought I was
when
starting. Go
y'all
ahead.
answer these questions, if it's a yes or no, true or false, just answer and then elaborate. Y'all be getting aggy with that type of stuff. I be seeing it a lot on Big O. So let's get it cracking. Visa, Capone, come back on camera, bro. Cause he's gonna ask you this question real quick. And y'all got it.
Okay, my question is this. I'm going to repeat it. I would like a one example of anywhere in this book or any chapter where it breaks the commandments of God.
That's not. Is that your question?
Yes.
What's the question?
Hey,
Any example, chapter or verse
Salaki.
where he
Capone, you can't ask for a question. You can't answer a question with a question. You can't do that. You have to be paying attention. You can't turn around and ask them for another question.
You talking to me?
Yeah, Con. When he asks you a question, you have to be paying attention to what he asking. You can't turn around and ask him another question. Ask him a question. You have to
Well, he
answer the
didn't.
question.
If I may, he didn't ask a question. That's why I asked him to clarify.
He did ask a question, but you have to be listening. I'm gonna let him go ahead ask it again, but you have to be listening, cause you can't turn around and ask him a question when he asks a question.
If the gospel is false, please give me one example where Jesus is going to break the commandments.
If the gospel is false, all right, I guess that's the question. There, it's not. There's not one because there's no. He doesn't break the commandment because it copies directly from the Latin Vulgate, which has the four gospels in it. When Christ is blameless in those gospels and in the Torah. So that's my answer. I had a fact check. It's my turn. Do I ask the question or do I wait for the fact?
Okay, at the end, do he do the fact check? Do we go to the fact check? You're mute, Kiss.
I'm confused because what are you trying to fact check? And did you
Right,
throw a flag on the play? Because what are you doing?
right.
I, I threw a flag earlier when he was going in his
Oh
round.
no, that don't count.
It's
You
only for
throwing
the Q
flags
and A.
only
Okay, okay, select it.
during Q and
Right.
A. So only during this time. So yeah, now you have the opportunity to ask him a question. You got the answer to your question, Visa? It was a no? Like
Yes. I got my answer. It was adequate, very sufficient.
mm-hmm. Damn phone. Oh well.
Okay.
So
So
now
my
it's your
question.
turn. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my question is, what does Christ mean? Who is the Christ? That's a better question.
And all that stuff was on my screen.
I know, right? All that
Um,
stuff was on my screen too, bruh. You can only ask one question. I
Right, that's
told
how I
y'all,
was
don't
trying to
do me
get it.
today.
Yeah, you
No,
can't do that, Capone.
I
No,
changed the question.
you can't do that. You have to make that your second question. Your first question is your first question. You can't turn around and change your question in the middle. Now,
Right.
if you can ask that question on the second round if that you want, but your first question is your first question.
And that was what does Christ mean?
Right,
Visa,
what
you
does
have the
Christ
floor.
mean?
All right. Well, answer that then. What does
the
Christ mean?
anointed one in Greek.
All right. Got your answer, Capone?
Hmm.
It's on you, Visa, to ask him a question. This is our second question.
If the gospel of Barnabas keeps the commandments and has more details than the canonical gospels, if I follow the gospels of Barnabas, is it not still, is it not true? That's only a yes or no question if that was confusing.
Yes, it's not true. Meaning, reason because the origin of it and the nature of it, though it doesn't go against the commandments, it still goes against the New Testament. That's the main thing, and it does. Well, I don't get into that. It goes against the new. It goes against the Gospels. It goes against the New Testament, which Christ told Peter. Um, Peter is the rock, and he told him to feed his sheep. So Peter then, well, along with the other apostles, continued on Christ's ministry. So yes, my answer to that was yes. You still be it's still not true.
All right,
So
Capone.
my
That's on
question
you. It's your
is,
turn.
what is the earliest original manuscript of the Gospel of Barnabas? I mean, Slovakia. When is the earliest manuscript of the Gospel of Barnabas?
The Aramaic, the one that's in the museum in Turkey. That is the dated, being that Aramaic is what they would call is the Jewish vernacular. It is called the lingua franca of the Syrian, Babylonian, and Persian empires, facilitating communications between diverse nations within each empire. Being that the common tongue of what people are speaking is Aramaic.
All right. Capone, you threw a flag. What was your reason so we can send our fact checkers to do their job?
He said that the earliest manuscript was in Aramaic. I want to fact check that. And he didn't give a date. Yeah, we need to fact check that.
All right, you can go ahead and ask your next question, Visa. This will be your third question.
If you said that it doesn't go against the commandments because it copies out the Vulgate Bible, but then you contradicted yourself and said that it does go against the New Testament. If Paul tells me to not be circumcised and that breaks the commandments, does that make the gospel of Barnabas a true gospel?
You asked that question already. Is that?
No,
I
I
don't know how to
didn't.
take
That was
that.
based off his last response. His last response was that for his first response that it did not break the commandments because it copied directly out the Vulgate Bible. The second response was that it goes against the New Testament and it does not agree with the New Testament. So my last question was if My last question is that if it does not break the commandments, but it but he says that it goes against the New Testament, and Paul does break the commandments, does that make the gospel of Barnabas true?
Okay, but that's not the question that you asked that I understood. The question that he asked that I understood was about circumcision. So I didn't hear that question. You said if Paul teaches that you don't have to be circumcised, does that make it true? You mentioned circumcision.
If Paul
So
says we do not have to be circumcised and that breaks the commandment, does that make the gospel of Barnabas true?
that's what I'm saying. So I want to make sure that's clear. So that's the question. So
That
all
is
the
the
other things,
question.
right?
The
So
the
Capone,
other things are the
listen. Okay, we got it. We got the question. So
sorry.
Capone, do you understand the question?
Yes, con.
Okay, go ahead and answer the question.
No, and I'm gonna elaborate. I said no because even though it plagiarized the Latin Vulgate, which has some truth in it besides the mistranslations, it's still the origin of it is still faulty. The context in it is still faulty. It's dated. Those things didn't exist until the Middle Ages. The language it was written in didn't exist during the time of Christ or Barnabas. This is why it's not true.
All right. It is your third question now, Capone, to ask Visa.
Okay. And it's a simple yes or no. Are you aware that Christ in Mashiach, Christos in the Greek, Mashiach in Hebrew or Aramaic, and what's the other one? And Messiah in Italian, all means the same thing.
Prove it. You're just saying stuff. Prove it.
So, what you would have to do is you would have to throw up that little angry dino emoji, but you still have to answer the question. Because, yeah, there you go. That one right there. You see it on the screen, like down there at the bottom? You got to throw that up because
He
that's a flag
gave,
on the play.
but he
Because,
prefaced it as if you are you aware. I asked yes or no
mm-hmm.
questions. I did not ask a
Okay.
leading question.
That's a yes or
All
no
right.
You
question.
can't
Okay.
lead the
That's what I
witness.
said.
You can't lead me.
Listen. Hey. Boss 7. You can't go back and forth. That's not how you do it. You either answer the question, whether you do, and you can elaborate on it. You give a yes or no, and then elaborate your answer. But you have to answer yes or no if he asks you a question. Whether you figure it's leading or not, that's where you get to expound on why you answer your question like that. It's that simple.
Not if he asks me a question that says, "Are you aware?" So if I say yes, that means that I am admitting that I am wrong. If I say no, that means that I am admitting my ignorance. He is setting me
It
up.
doesn't. It
I
doesn't
plead
matter.
the
You have to
fifth.
pick. Listen, you
No, I
can't.
don't have
Okay.
to pick if he's asking an inappropriate question. Flag.
Well, you
It's
have
not.
the opportunity.
Okay. It's not up to you to decide whether the question is inappropriate or not. You can just
Objection.
answer.
You
Okay,
told me I
listen,
can object.
listen.
Object.
Verse 7, right?
I have not objected the entire time. He is asking me an inappropriate question. I plead the fifth. I will not answer that. That is my answer.
You have
Yes, you
that
got.
right.
No sweat. That's all.
Oh, he not gonna answer the
That's,
question?
no, he not finna answer the question. He
You're
said
leading
no.
the
I'm not pleading the
witness.
fifth. He said nope. I'm not
Hey,
playing into you. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Wow.
hey,
He
can I
said
say something real
objection. I'm
quick?
not going.
Can I say something real quick?
You better.
All right. So, Visa, you could answer the question yes or no, and then elaborate on why you think it's leading. You don't want to answer.
I cannot answer the question basis on foundations that have not been established. That if we're going to
Okay.
introduce anything into the court, the evidence has to be accepted by both sides. He is introducing new evidence that has not been established that everyone has accepted to be truth and factual. So therefore, he
Understood.
is
Understood.
leading me into a hole that I will never jump into.
Understood.
All right. No sweat. No
Yashar,
sweat.
are you there?
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yashar,
Yeah, I'm
can
here.
you check your messages?
Yeah, I seen it.
I
I'm on my
bet.
I'm on the second one. I'm looking
May
for
I
three witnesses.
may
So
I
I got
remind
my first witness.
the debaters of
I'm
something?
on my second one right now.
Hold on, humble. Thank you.
Uh, may I remind the debaters of something really fast?
Warrior, is
These
that okay for him to
questions.
do?
Hey, humble. No, that is not okay for you to do. You is not in the debate.
I'm not.
They was given the rules in the beginning.
All right.
That's
All
not
right.
part. So,
All right.
all right.
Say la vie. All right. Visa, this
What that
is
mean?
your
What that
fourth.
mean, kid? Hey, love you.
Say la vie. Oh well, so be it. All right, bet, no problem. Well, it is what it is. You know. Visa, this is your fourth and final question to ask Capone.
If the gospel of Barnabas tells us to keep the Torah, and Paul tells us to go against the Torah, can I get to heaven by following the gospel of Barnabas?
He answered that question already. It's the same question. Do I have to answer that?
I'm just, listen,
Hey,
I came
hold
for a
up.
friendly conversation.
Listen. Let me do this. Capone, he did not ask that question. Just answer the questions, yes or no, and then you can elaborate on it.
I would say no.
Feels like I just walked right out of
Reason why,
heaven.
I would say no. The reason why, because you're missing uh, one important piece of the gospel. Um, Missing the baptism, which in John chapter 3 it say no man can enter into the kingdom unless you've been baptized. So no, you will not enter into the kingdom of heaven, which I already answered. Um, and the reason that you're missing that is because the gospel of Barnabas clearly omits John the Baptist from the text, from the gospel. It don't mention him at all. So who was paving the way for Christ, right? So that's my answer.
Okay, it's your turn to ask him your fourth and final question.
Okay. Um, in the Quran or in the Muslim tradition, you have these two words, tarif and tabdil. Tadil. Can you explain to the people what these two words mean?
Um, Could you type it so I could read it so I could possibly understand because it's a possibility that you were pronouncing it?
But you cannot ask a question. Either you can say no, I
He
cannot
doesn't speak
because that.
Arabic.
Hold up, listen. You can answer the question with a no or yes, and elaborate on why you
I
why you
don't
answered that.
understand the question that's being asked.
Listen. Okay, thank you. That's why you can answer yes
I
or
don't
no, and
understand
then
the question.
Messiah.
Why are you doing that? Hey,
You
you
can
could appeal to the moderator too, right? He could appeal to the moderator.
right.
He just can't ask GD Capone no question.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
You
talking
can appeal
to
to
him.
me.
I'm talking to the moderator. And he's like, "Don't talk to me." And it's like I'm frustrated
That's
because I don't
no.
understand what's going on here.
Okay.
Can I
You
get
did
some
not appeal.
instruction because I've never been over
Okay.
here?
And that's why I'm trying to explain it to you, but you never appealed to me. So I'm trying to explain to you how you can do it. Now you can appeal to me and say, moderator, can you have him clarify the words that he's asking me, or you can answer it yes or no and elaborate why you gave your answer. You have those options.
Thank you, moderator. I would like to say no because the things that you are saying are not in my book. These are things that you have Googled on your understanding of Islam. So please give me a chapter and verse where we use this in the Quran. I
Again, you
believe this
cannot
is
ask a
Muslim
question in your
propaganda.
listen,
Yeah,
Messiah. You cannot
you can
ask
let him
a
keep going.
question.
That's his answer. That's his
I know
answer.
I wasn't. I just want to know because I don't want Capone to go back. I'm just letting him know he cannot answer a question within your. You cannot ask the other person a question. That's all.
No, but he can finish his 2 minutes though, right?
Yep.
Yes, you can finish your 2 minutes. Just don't ask like try to stay away from
Yeah.
rhetorical questions or questions. That's all I'm asking
Oh,
because
okay,
you
yeah.
can't ask you can't ask your opponent a question. That's all. So try to stay away from rhetorical questions or asking a question. That's all I'm asking. So you have the floor. Uh, can we give
You
him
said no. No.
another? Can we give him another probably like maybe 20 seconds to continue his answers?
Fine. I don't need it. I don't need it. It's a false question. It doesn't exist.
Well, he answered the question. He said no. That was the answer. He couldn't explain.
I bet. That's all the fact
That's it,
questions
right?
in the question and answer round.
Yeah.
Let's get this fact check on. Yashar, what you come up with? Actually, it was
Okay,
really only
so
one. It was really only
so
one um
fact check, right?
flag really thrown. Mm-hmm.
Right. So the question was the validity of the source, right? When was the source presented? When was it written? That was the question, right?
That he said it was an Aramaic. Hey, can I speak? He said that it was a Aramaic
Originally
manuscript.
written.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
that's
okay.
right. The
Um,
question was
uh,
when was the book of Barnabas? You know,
written, right?
I don't want to. He didn't use the word written. I'm trying to figure out the word that he actually used, but it would be to that extent. So, and he
Just
said
through the
during
flag.
Aramaic. He just said during Aramaic. So the fact check is was it written during Aramaic time? That's the fact check.
No. Um, during Aramaic time, um, it's three different sources that we're talking about. right? When we talk about this source, so you got one source that was written in the 15th century, 13th to the 15th century. Um, many of the teachings are in sync with those in the Quran and opposes the Bible, especially the New Testament. So I don't know if that's saying that it's during the Aramaic time, because I don't see nothing from any scholarly work that states that it's from the Aramaic time.
Hey,
It don't say
Salak,
nothing about that.
Salak, I think what what Kid said them do last time is just show the sources.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
you
was
can
about
show
to
the
ask.
sources.
Can you show the three different sources that you got it from, that you pulled from, to come up with to come up with your answers? That way, we all know what you're explaining.
Right, because what we got here, the question was, when is the earliest gospel of Barnabas, or when is the earliest gospel of Barnabas written, and was the when was the earliest manuscript? What is the earliest manuscript? I'm sorry, written. And he answered it was Aramaic. The earliest manuscript was in Aramaic, and that was his answer. And he threw the flag on the play. So, can you show us the sources of what are the earliest manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas?
Okay, let me see here. So this is what I got right here. Uh, All right. So here's the first one that I got. All right, and you can see the text at the bottom. So the Gospel's origins and authors have been debated. Several theories and speculative, and none has generally acceptance. The Gospel of Barnabas is dated to the 13th to 15th century, much too late to have been written by Barnabas. First century CE. Many of its teachings are synchronous with those in the Quran that oppose the Bible. And Justine Jan, 2010, the Day Province, the Gospel of Barnabas, the journal Theological Studies. This is where that information comes from. The next one that I have is here. Same, is basically saying the same thing. And it goes into the different sources, the epistles and the acts, along with the
Right, so
gospels.
this is
This is the
another flag on the play. He's arguing against my own position. So this can't be a fact. The fact is there Barnabas inside of the museum? This is discrediting my position before anything has been judged. This,
No,
what is
no,
he
no.
doing?
His job,
this is
his
what
No,
you call
job is
fact
to.
checking, my guy.
Hold
Well,
on,
he's
hold on.
proving
Don't
he
say
can't
nothing,
fact. What he needs
Capone.
to fact check is that it's
Hold
inside
on.
of the
Visa,
museum.
Visa,
What he's
stop.
doing
Visa,
is,
stop.
what is he
Visa,
doing?
stop doing that. Stop doing that. You don't know what's
Excuse
going
me?
on. You don't know what's going on. He's not arguing a position at all. What he's doing is whoever threw the flag on the play was to check the fact of the earliest manuscript and was it during a time where they spoke Aramaic. He's just giving the three sources that he used in order to fact check. You could validate or invalidate those sources another time. He's not saying that they right or wrong. He's just
So he's
showing us
using
where
personal
he's coming
opinions as
from.
fact checks to fact check? How is
So
that
now,
facts?
You can co-
He's
You can
using
call it a
conjecture and
personal
acting as
opinion.
though that it's facts. That's
That's
inappropriate.
fine, but you don't get to argue that right this minute. You already done
I don't get
debated.
to
If you
argue. I
won, you
don't get to pick
won.
the moderator. I don't get to pick the fact checker. Y'all, everybody don't like me already. And so you're about to
Would
sit
you?
here and tell me that's fine for me to do
Hey,
this?
Oh,
This doesn't make any sense.
oh,
you
Oh,
done
okay.
so
Maybe
we
did
can.
someone
good,
has to
man. We had
correct
to
what y'all
listen.
about
Oh,
what
You
he said.
did good.
If I
Him
We at
coming
the
listen,
end
out
of the
and doing
debate. You
this
can't do
and
what
not
you
having
doing.
mm,
actual
You
facts
can't
listen.
do
If I
makes
this.
no
You
could,
can't
sense.
do this. Nah, hold on, cause like
What
this
he's
what I'm
doing right
saying.
now
Don't
makes
do
no
this.
sense.
The
Like
debate
y'all
is
need to
over
think
with.
about
What
him
you
using
doing is no
personal
sense.
opinions as though him a fact checker. How can you have the
All
fact
right,
checker
Roy, yeah,
going
you
and
got
getting
it.
people's personal
I
opinions?
would have just muted him.
so
I do.
I'll
I
just say this.
And now you give
Go
your
ahead,
opinion about
Awaria.
what you would have done. Excuse me?
okay.
Who
If
are
I
you?
could,
Nope. They was
if I
Oh,
reading
could,
the
if I could,
he got
if
Capone,
I, hey,
please be
hey, Capone,
quiet.
Capone, don't say anything. If I could, okay. This is not an argument for or against you. Only thing he's doing is pulling up the sources that he has to fact check what you have, and he's giving the source of where he got it from. This is not
Which is a
for or
personal
against.
opinion.
Listen, listen,
That's not a
listen. It's not.
source.
Hold up. Hey, listen, listen. It's a source because the source is down at the bottom of where he got it from.
And
That's
isn't
why
it
it's
a
a.
personal
Listen,
opinion?
hey, Messiah, it's not a personal opinion. It's a whose personal opinion because it's not the person that's fact checking personal opinion. He's reading the person that wrote it, and he's given the source of where he got it from. It has nothing to do with what he personally feels. Are you finna play the game? Okay, so that's all he's doing. He's not giving any personal opinion about how he feels or what it is. He's reading what it has, and he's providing where he got the source from. That's it. That's all. Thank you.
Can you just go ahead and get a third source? You sure?
Yeah,
Or that was
I
all
can.
of them?
I don't know. I can do that. It's like crazy, bro. I didn't know we was gonna have to go
One
through all
moment,
this.
because he's frozen on the screen, so I'm not sure if he's
It
still
don't. It
there.
don't. It don't matter. He don't need to be present for this because all he gonna do is talk over the fact check.
We talking about
I mean,
the. Let me just make sure I'm straight for this last one. We talking about the gospel, right? The gospel of Barnabas, not the
right.
Can you
epistles,
get up?
right? Not the epistles, right? No other book but the gospels of Barnabas. Am I right? Just to make sure I'm correct.
That's correct.
That's what I'm looking
That's
for,
correct.
right?
Right. That's
All right,
that's
no
correct.
sweat. That's all I needed.